The logo of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee appears, with the tagline "Live the Life You Want."
We are ready to reconvene the National Federation of the Blind 2020 convention is back in session. We are going to um, start with a quick door prize. If we can find somebody here this time. Let's see, number 7. We never gave away that $25 Amazon gift card from the National Capital Foundation. So, Melissa, you got a winner for us?
Well, I'm here, Terry, if you want to call my name.
We have Yolanda Bowers.
Yolanda, are you here? Yolanda.
One notification.
Go ahead, Melissa. Give us the name.
Update Apple ID setting. Some account services will not be available.
So Yolanda is not?
No.
No.
Okay. Teresa Williams.
Oh, Teresa better be on that line.
Turn voiceover off.
Teresa?
Teresa Williams.
Teresa going once, going twice. Last try. We're going to have a bunch of door prizes to give away. Go ahead.
All right. Teresa's done. No Teresa. Okay, we got
Muted.
Shatana Bryant.
What up?
Shatana Bryant.
Oh, boy.
Okay, we're not having much luck. So we're going to move on.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
We still have like 10 or 11 door prizes to give, which we're going to be giving as we go. We're having to flip flop just some of the order of things here. We originally planned to hear David, but we need to hear from our scholarship winners first because we got to accommodate a scheduling conflict. So Deborah Carter has chaired our scholarship committee this year, and I would like to turn it over to her to introduce our 2 scholarship finalists for this year and for those award presentations. Deborah Carter from Memphis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here, glad to be on with everyone from our state affiliate for this convention. And we have 2 very deserving, as all of our scholarship winners are, scholarship winners that I would like to introduce to you. And I'm going to speak their names and then they can introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. And then after that, I will announce the amount of scholarships that they will be receiving. So
Okay.
The first one, his name is Tony Liu. So Tony, go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Thanks, Dr. Carter, and I hope everybody can hear my voice. If you can you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, first of all, it's my great honor to receive whatever amount of scholarship. It's really a great honor for that. And let me just tell you a little bit about myself, and hopefully I don't talk too much. And if I do, just let me know. I was born in China, so back in the 90s, for babies with premature experience, the greatest loss is not really the parents or myself. It's really the doctors because they're so clueless back then about how to handle babies like this. So what they did to me was giving me a lot of oxygen, assuming that I did have breathing problems, and that was really never confirmed in a way because then that caused my blindness. Too much oxygen in a very short period of time. And I was raised in a very normal family. I actually went to public schools in China, not school for the blind, but actual public schools. And in my high school junior year, I moved to this country. First started as a high school junior student in a school in Missouri. Then I went to college in Vermont, a very small liberal arts school. Right now, I am pursuing my master's degree in piano performance in Clarksville. So this is from Austin.
Yoo-hoo!
Nice. I like that excitement there. This is from Austin Peay State University. Now, because COVID hit back in March, everything transitioned to online. I was in Vermont for a while, and then I flew to Oregon. So right now I'm speaking to you from Bend, Oregon. But thanks to great technology, Zoom, we can actually speak to each other. So a little bit about myself and how I got to know the scholarship and what I'm going to do with the scholarship. I got to know the scholarship because I was having my O&M session with Anita Henderson, who is a great person, and she knows a lot, very educated person, and she knows how to really accommodate all different levels of students. So for me,
Thank you, Tony.
Yes,
Thank you.
Anita. Go, girl.
We did O&M in 3 sessions or something like that, and that's it. But she introduced me to the idea of scholarship, and then she helped me apply for the scholarship. This is all before COVID hit. And since then, I have been thinking about what I'm going to do with the scholarship. So at Austin Peay, and even before Austin Peay, I have been teaching piano for a while. Specifically classical piano, but I do teach a little bit jazz too. And I also teach music-related courses. So at Austin Peay, right now, I am teaching 4 different courses, undergraduate courses. And since COVID, I've been thinking about what I'm going to do for education-related really activities. And because we're using Zoom for most of the things we're doing, and one of the really difficult things for people with visual disabilities is to navigate Zoom and to have a really good mindset about how to use Zoom and how much you want to use Zoom. Often people are so intimidated by the technology, so they walk away from Zoom, or they say, well, I don't know how to use it. And all they say is, I don't know how to use it. Part of this has to do with the accessibility features on Zoom, but I think a lot of it, just like everything else, has to do with the mindset that this person is trying to set. If you have an open mindset, what happens is, even if you face a difficulty, the immediate thoughts you're going to have is, how am I going to solve it? Instead of, oh, I can't do this, right? So for the scholarship that I'm going to receiving, whatever amount, I don't really, it's not really a set amount that I need. I'm going to spend some time reaching out to people who have enough experience with Zoom, and of course everybody's learning, and try to figure out a way, is it possible for visually impaired students to take music lessons from home, from their familiar environment, by using Zoom? And I do believe, even after the pandemic, this will be quite valuable for people with O&M needs, because it's probably better for you to stay at home and play on your own instrument, right? And if technology can accommodate that, great, we should stay with it. So that's my primary focus. And then the other kind of focus for scholarship is really trying to talk to more universities to accept visually impaired classical musicians. That is not the norm right now in the country. I'm not speaking for Tennessee, but the whole entire country, that's not the norm. And there are a lot of things I can do to talk to the professors, talk to the department chair in different schools about this idea of what you can do to accommodate the students. Yeah, so I know I'm way running over time, but that's the plan for scholarship.
Thank you, Tony. Good to know you, and sounds like a worthwhile endeavor for the scholarship. Our next scholarship finalist is Ella Brown, and I'll give you a couple, 3 minutes to introduce yourself to the state convention. Are you here?
Hello. Okay, here we go.
There you go. There you go.
Hi everybody. My name's Ella Brown. Tell you a little bit about myself. I've been visually impaired now for about 12 years. I was in an accident that left me visually impaired. I was officially the first blind person I had ever met. I was also the first blind person that my parents and friends and family had ever met. We had never, met a blind person until I became visually impaired. I went to a typical public school up until the 8th grade, which in the 8th grade, I decided to transition to TSB, the Tennessee School for the Blind, which I'm going to have to say completely changed my life. becoming visually impaired changed my life. I became a more caring and compassionate person. I looked at things so much different. There were definitely hard times while I was visually impaired, becoming visually impaired. Someone in one of our earlier seminars talked about acceptance. And I definitely still, as an 18-year-old, struggling or having this disability, quote, I definitely still struggle with it to this day. And I probably will struggle with acceptance forever. But I've definitely met some incredible people through becoming visually impaired that have helped me so much in my journey of acceptance. And I have met so many incredible visually impaired people that have changed my views on visual impairment and what you can do with the visual impairment. But that's a little bit about me. I am beyond grateful for this scholarship and beyond grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the National Federation for the Blind. I was introduced to y'all by Joshua Harper. He was my, I graduated now, but he was my technology teacher for 2.5 years, I think. And he is one of my biggest inspirations. He goes to work every day and just like rocks it with a visual impairment and doesn't let things bother him or get him down. And I absolutely love that. And he along with so many other people have inspired me to become a teacher. And I hope that my story and my situation and my outlook on life can help one of my students. And someone in one of the things last night said, if my story can touch one person, I've done my entire job. And I've lived with that philosophy for the past probably 10 years. If I can impact one person and I can change one person's outlook or one person's life, then I've done what I've came to do. So I'm forever grateful and absolutely honored to be chosen as one of your scholarship attendants. Thank you.
All right, so that's Tony and Ella, and each of you will receive a scholarship in the amount of $750, which we believe you have told us will go a long way in helping you to achieve the things that you desire. I'm grateful to have served as the chairperson for the scholarship committee. And let me encourage all of you, our state affiliate and chapter members, to spread the word about the state affiliate scholarship. It can be used to buy books, to buy clothing, to just have your own spending money, do whatever you like to do to help you continue to achieve the things that you want. So honored to have this privilege and this honor to serve in this capacity as a member of the National Federation of the Blind. Thank you, Terry.
Good job. Thank you, Dr. Carter. Great job. Congratulations to both of our winners. This is really the start. We want to see you guys, involved with the Federation and get involved with the local chapter, or an at-large chapter, and to continue your growth and being part of the Federation family. Congratulations to both of you. Our next speaker, is somebody, again, I guess you're getting tired of me introducing people as friends, but, David Dino Terrace, truly is a friend of mine. He was the director of the Pennsylvania Agency for the Blind. Before that, he worked in New Jersey. Now he's out on his own, gets paid a lot to do motivational speeches. And, we are really excited, that he has agreed to speak to us today. I thought it was fitting that he would be making the presentation when we presented our scholarships, because I think his message is very powerful for young people and for our scholarship winners who are just starting their journey. David and I usually have our phone conversations on Saturday mornings when he's on the treadmill. He said,
Yes, sir.
I don't know, he gets on that treadmill and he feels he's got to talk to somebody. So he starts calling around until somebody answers. And so we've had a lot of Saturday morning conversations. And like I said, he's a friend of mine. I think you're in for a treat. Please welcome David Dinateris.
Oh, thank you very much, Terry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Very good, very good. So it is so nice to be here. And I trust you can hear Valentino, our yellow lab, okay. So I apologize for that. So it is so nice to be here with you today. I really have been enjoying listening to your convention. And that's really been something that's, I love listening to Dr. Schroeder. I always enjoy listening to Dr. Schroeder and to the congratulations to the students. That's very, very impressive. So, Terry and I, we always, Terry, Terry likes to steal my jokes. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I feel better now. I feel better now. So Terry from our work together, we always believed we like to try to start the meeting with something funny to, just get people thinking and laughing, something relevant to the topic. So I heard this story the other day, and so students, I hope you're, and we're all students. I'm a firm believer we're all students. That this is a really relevant story for us to open up for a little bit. So there was a couple, a married couple. They were in their late 80s, and they went to the doctors because they were having trouble remembering things. So the doctor said, "Well, I think it would be a really good idea that you write things down. You write things down. It's very important." So it's very important that we write things down. So then, okay, very good. So they went home, and the wife said, they were sitting down watching TV. She said, I could go for a nice bowl of chocolate ice cream. And the husband, the good husband, he immediately stood up and he says, I'll get that for you. She says, don't you think you should do what the doctor said and write it down? No. What do you need to listen to that guy for? What? Okay. So then, she hears him in the kitchen, and she hears some pots and pans clanging, and then a few minutes later, he comes into the room with a plate with bacon and eggs on it. And she said, you see, you should have listened to the doctor. Why? She said, you forgot the toast. You forgot the toast. So, well, so very important that we write things down, students. I want to jump right into this. We can't just think it, we got to ink it. Leonardo da Vinci said a bunch of drops of ink will really help you think. And I like the thought a bunch of little dots helps me remember lots. So I have my note taker right in front of me here. I love the new Mantis 40 from the American Printing House, a QWERTY keyboard with a 40-cell Braille display. I've got all my notes on that, and I'm privileged to be with you today and to be with Terry Smith and so many amazing, wonderful, dedicated people who make this meeting really possible. So we want to encourage you today. We know that when you're home, it's real easy to get caught up on doing other things and just putting it on mute and going and doing the laundry and the dishes and take care of this and that. But while we're here today, I want to encourage you to be here. I want to encourage you to take lots of good notes. I have, like many of you, there you go. Like many of you, I've been asked to do many presentations for schools and Lions clubs and Rotary clubs and different organizations. And so I wanted to come up with a real simple way to help, demystify how people who are blind do things and how, I remember being introduced at one Lions Club statewide meeting in New Jersey, and they asked me to speak, and I was, so happy to do that. And speaking to all these, and I always wanted to speak in front of the Lions clubs and, encourage them. I was never looking out and looking for a handout. I was looking for a hand up for to say, hey, I'll give this blind guy, I'll give that blind girl a job, an opportunity, a volunteer experience. And so I was always excited, always, very, glad to speak in front of the groups. And I was speaking in front of the one groups, and the gentleman, I remember his name was Doug. He said, David Dinataris is going to speak with us today on what we can do to get rid of this horrible scourge called blindness. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, I don't know if I'm going to do any of that, but I'm going to talk to you today about how people who are blind are successfully living and having and doing and living the lives that they want. So I came up with a very simple little formula that I wanted to share with you today. And I'll share with you as I learned as I was growing up. So I was born to Joan and Dante Dinataris, the first generation from Italy. They didn't have any advanced degrees like many of you. And when they had a blind son, or they had a son who had a problem with his eyes, they didn't know what the problem was, and they brought me to experts in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. And then there was finally one doctor. He said, Mr. and Mrs. Dinataris. I remember I was sitting on my mom's lap. I was 4 years old. Mr. and Mrs. Dinataris, we've determined your son has a rare eye condition, retinitis pigmentosa. And he went on to tell my mother and dad all the different things I wasn't going to be able to do. I wasn't going to be able to go to the school with the normal kids. I always want to meet the normal kids. So the normal kids, I wasn't able to do the things the normal kids do. And I wasn't going to be able to play the games the normal kids played. And I wasn't going to be able to get an education like the normal kids. And he went on and on. And then my dad was asking questions. What about glasses? What about contacts? There's got to be something you can do. And the doctor said, Mr. Dinataris, there's nothing you or anyone else can do. Your son's going to go blind. And I remember leaving the hospital that day. And I remember I was holding my mom's hand, and we were walking down a very long corridor in the hospital. And then we took down the elevator, and they weren't saying anything. And that was odd because they were always, chit-chatting. And my mother put me in the back seat of the car, and she got in the passenger seat. My dad got in the driver's seat, and he started the car up. And then I remember I was able to hear my mother crying. She said, Dante, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? The doctor said David's never going to lead a normal life. And he said something that, I heard, I think Terry asked Dr. Schroeder the question earlier this morning. Was there a turning point? Was there a light switch moment? And I really think it was this. Honestly, like I was sitting in the back seat of the car, and I'm wondering why my mother's crying. And he says, we're not going to listen to that expert. We're going to help find the expert to help our son lead a normal life. And that was it. And he wasn't there. He wasn't, my dad didn't spend his time criticizing, complaining, and blaming. He just spent his time figuring out how he could help me to be successful. And then I remember, going to, welcome Slash. And I remember going to kindergarten and learning Braille. And I didn't want to learn Braille. I wanted to learn print like everybody else. And Miss Higgins, my kindergarten teacher, she told me that, David, it doesn't matter how you read. What matters is that you read. Well, so then I learned to read. I learned to read Braille. But first, I learned what my name felt like and my brothers and sisters' names felt like from the magnetic letters on the refrigerator. And that's how my mother taught me, the letters and taught me how to spell. And so I just, one of the things I just want to just continue to reinforce is lifelong learning. Literacy is the key that will unlock doors, open potential, open opportunities for people that once wasn't there. So I was telling you that I came up with a three simple formula that I wanted to share with you that I share with Lions clubs and different clubs, and it's the ABCs of blindness. And the A is for access. Access equals success. When we can have access to what? Access to information, access to inspiration, access to a positive philosophy, access in people who believe in us when we don't believe in us. The A is for access, right? And then A also for assistive technology, and having access to information. How are we going to get access to information? Because if we can have the same access to information as our classmates, neighbors, colleagues, or peers, we can get the same education, the same trainings, and of course, we can get the same jobs, right? Or same careers, right? So I'm not interested. We do lots of workshops for students. And I'm not interested in a job, right? J-O-B, a job, right? I'm not interested in a job. JOB stands for just over broke, right? Just over broke. I'm interested in helping people find what they really want to do, find what really winds their clock, what gets them excited every day. Mark Twain said, "Find a job you'll love. You'll never work another day in your life." So A is for access. The B is for Braille and for literacy. Braille and for literacy. Can you write something down and retrieve it later? Can you write something down and retrieve it later independently? And I do all kinds of workshops. We're very blessed to have workshops and deliver trainings in New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine, and Nebraska, all over the country, Virginia, Maryland. And one of the things that I've observed is that students aren't good note takers. That you've got to be able to write things down yourself. We've got all this great technology, but we really don't have the ability to be, great note takers. Now, can you take notes yourself? Can you take notes yourself? Can you write things down yourself? And can you retrieve them later? That's so important because we know that this is one of those skills that will translate from high school to college to work, being able to organize. Because if you can't organize your thoughts, you can't organize your day. And if you can't organize your day, we can't organize our lives. So we've got to be able to write things down and be able to retrieve them later. How do you do that? Oh, I use my Mantis 40. I use JAWS. I use an iPhone. And I use lots of tools. I use the clock and the calendar and the reminders. But you've got to have a way to stay organized. So the B is you have to be literate, and so I love using Braille. I use Braille all the time. I've got my notes, but you've got to be able to, and I hear students all the time say, "Oh, I talk to disability services and they're going to have someone write the note." That's the wrong answer. That's the wrong answer. The guy who wrote those notes probably can't read them either, can you? You've got to be able to, if you want to take notes with your Victor Reader Stream, I think that's not as efficient as just being able to take them down yourself, on a laptop, on your phone with a Bluetooth keyboard. But you've got to have a strategy because this is the building blocks for success. The building blocks for success is being able to be organized here. A is for access. B is for Braille and literacy. So the C is can you travel? Canine, can you travel from where you are to where you want to go independently? Can you do that? Because there's not always going to be an elbow. There's not always, and I know it's really, and the hardest street to use a cane. I ask this question all the time. What's the hardest street to use a cane on? The street that you live on. Oh, they've never seen me without one before. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? They're not worrying about it. Don't you worry about what they're thinking. Worry about what you're thinking, because we know that what we think about comes about. What we think about comes about. So all we need to be thinking about. So I want to share this. So for the past 30 years, I've been very interested. I've been very blessed to have worked as a job developer for people who are blind or vision impaired, for disabled veterans, for people with secondary, tertiary disabilities. I was the coordinator of assistive technology services for the New Jersey Commission for the Blind. I was the manager of statewide operations for the Commission for the Blind. I was in charge of the early intervention unit, the education unit, the textbook distribution center, transition unit, college unit, deaf-blind unit. And then I moved to Pennsylvania, and I was the director of the state agency for the blind there, 6 district offices, 150 staff, helped 400 people a year who were blind or vision impaired find real jobs with real pay. I was then asked to be the executive director of the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. We had 1,200 staff, $200 million yearly budget, assisted 10,000 people a year with disabilities find real jobs with real pay. And I've always been very interested in this question. Why are some people successful and some people aren't? I've always, is that something that you've wondered about? Well, why? Why is she successful? Why is he successful? But why isn't he successful? So this is what I've observed, that people who are successful focus on two things. They focus on what they want and how they're going to get it. And people who aren't successful focus on two things also. They focus on what they don't have and whose fault it is. So successful people focus on what they want and what are the steps that they have to take to get it. And people who aren't successful focus on what they don't have and who's to blame. So I know that the three things that have stolen more dreams, more hopes, more possibilities, more opportunities: criticizing, complaining, and blaming. Criticizing, complaining, and blaming. And I'm such a firm believer that what we think about comes about. And so when we get up in the morning, I truly believe when we get up in the morning, we've got to throw the covers off and say, something wonderful, this is what I do, something wonderful is going to happen to me today. What are you telling yourself when you get up in the morning? I truly believe we get up in the morning. We could say one of two things. We could say one of two things. We could say, good morning, God, or good God morning. What are you saying when you get up in the morning? What are you telling yourself? Because if you don't encourage you, who will? So it's so important that we're in the business of encouraging ourselves and surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us too, right? Right? I like the teamwork will make the dream work, right? The teamwork makes the dream work. So when we're out there helping other people, when we're out there helping people figure things out, when we're out there being possibility thinkers, great things are going to happen, right? No one's really going to come and show up and say, hey, how you doing? Are you working on your dreams? No, you've got to be up and you've got to be out. And I learned this, and you know, that the five, it's called the 5 SWs of sales, but it's really the 5 SWs of whatever you want to do. So, you know, if you're selling something, or if you're a student, or if you're a teacher, you're a parent, you're a volunteer, right? I just want to encourage you to, you know, I hope you're taking notes today. You can't just think it. You got to ink it. Statistics say we only remember 7% of what we hear 24 hours later. So don't just think and ink it, right? A good idea is like a slippery fish. You got to get it when you can get it. So if you're getting any good ideas from anything that you're hearing during the convention about things that you can do or actions you could take or steps, you got to write it down, because you're not going to remember on Monday morning to call the lady at the library and update your BART account. You got to write that down. You're not going to remember to you know, call and sign up for NFB Newsline, because there's over 500 publications there that you could be listening to and getting information about local, national, international news. You might not remember that. You might not remember to write, you know, swhite@nfb.org or whatever the email address is that you want to write down. So you got to write it down now. You got to get those ideas right now. Don't just think you got to ink it. So here are the 5 SWs of doing anything better. Remember this. SW1, some people are going to want to work with you, or some will buy from you. SW2 is, probably you can guess, some won't. Some won't. Some people aren't going to want to deal with you. And the SW3, very important. You know, so what? So at SW3, so what? SW4 is you got to stick with it. So this is here we go. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where ignition happens. You got to stick with it. You see, the title of the presentation is, you don't have to be brilliant to be resilient, but the truth is you got to be diligent to be resilient. You got to stick with it. You got to hang on until you catch on. You got to hang on. You got to keep going. You got to keep, you know, just like in that Nemo, just keep swimming. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You can't give up. Never give up. Right? Oh, I like this thought. I learned this from one of my students. Never, if you're taking notes, write this one down. Never confuse a bad day with a bad life. Ooh, never confuse a bad day with a bad life. Right? Very important. Or never confuse a couple of bad days with a bad life. So, SW1, some will buy from you, some will like you, some will deal with you. Some SW2, some won't. SW3, you got to stick with it. So what? SW4, you got to stick with it. SW5, someone's waiting. Someone's waiting for you. Someone's waiting for your expertise. Someone's waiting for your knowledge. Someone's waiting for your insight. Someone's waiting for you. But they're not going to necessarily come and find you. You've got to go find them, right? Like somebody says, my ship is going to come in. Your ship may never come in, but you could swim out to it, right? So what do I want to share with? What do I want to make sure I get across? I want to put a handle on this. What am I trying to say? Saying all this today, I could put a handle on this, so you could take it home with you where you live, work, and play. I want you to think about this. What do you really want? And what are the steps that you can take right now to get it? And think about what you want and what is the knowledge that you need to acquire. Maybe there's 2 or 3 things that you need to acquire. Maybe you need to, as we were talking about the ABCDs, right? The assistive technology. Maybe you want to, learn how to use the iPad or use VoiceOver better, or for Braille or for literacy. Maybe you want to know how to come up with some of those techniques better. Or can you get to the C is, can you get from where you are to where you want to go? Maybe there's some strategies or some apps or some techniques or some practice that you want. The D, of course, is for daily living. You dress for success and dress to impress, right? D is also for daily living and taking care of your, can you take care of your finances? Can you take care of your money? There's nothing worse than having more month left at the end of the money. And you can't say, oh, my mother takes care of it, my cousin takes care of it, my niece takes care of this for me. Because did you know that according to the FBI, 95% of all financial fraud happens from someone that someone that we know? 95% of all financial fraud. So maybe Mrs. Horowitz, who helps us, is very nice, kind, and helpful, and maybe she's not doing anything wrong, or maybe she's taking $10 a week. So do you have a way of knowing that? And the E, if we do ABCD correctly, it's going to lead us to getting a good education. And if we get a good education, and then we have lots of good experiences, then we're going to be, I believe, achieve employment. And beyond employment, I think what I really would love to help everyone understand, recognize, and believe is to achieve independence. And independence, independence, financial independence, independence to be able to take care of your finances, independence to be able to take care of your food, independence to be able to take care of yourself, independence taking care of your family. So I just want to encourage you. We learned when we were in 4th grade, the law of inertia, that things in motion stay in motion, and things at rest stay at rest unless acted upon by a greater force. My hope and my prayer truly is that this conference, and maybe some of the words I said, will be able to be a force and not a farce, be a force for you to take action. What is the sum? Is there something that you can do? There's a, if you feel stuck, if you feel discouraged, you feel anxious, if you feel annoyed, and you want something, the only thing that's constant is change. And if what can you do? There's something you can do. Like that doctor said, there's nothing you or anyone can do. Yes, there's something you can do. There's always something you can do. If it's just to change your mind, to change your perspective, to change your thoughts. Because if we change our thoughts, we could change our things. So what can we do to take a step so we can move in the direction from where we are to where we want to go? Where do you want to be in the next year? Where do you want to be in the next 2 years? And what are the skills or the techniques, that you need to acquire to help you get there? And I truly believe that if we focus on the assistive technology, the access equals success, the Braille and the literacy, the travel skills, the daily living skills, I truly believe if we focus on those skills and we focus on being the best that we can be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that we are going to be able to, we don't have to be brilliant, but we certainly can be resilient. So Terry, it is a privilege and a pleasure and an honor to be with you and your very kind convention assembled, and I'm so happy to be with you, and I'm honored you would ask me to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, David. Outstanding job. Always enjoy hearing you speak. That's a joke that I stole years ago from you, so I need some new material though.
Okay, I'm going to work on that, Terry. My apologies.
David will call me every now and then, and he'll say, "Hey, I got one I think you can use." And so he'll tell me because as you know, I travel a lot. I speak a lot at different meetings around the country, primarily blind vendor meetings. And so David and I sort of share that, always start out with something humorous. And David, I want you to tell one. I want you to tell just real quickly, about
the elephant. Oh yes, yes. So, it's we do our company is Sky's the Limit, and we do all kinds of presentations for schools and universities and companies on the topics of leadership and resiliency, and it's all about storytelling. Advocacy is all about storytelling. We're telling stories to the elected officials. We're telling stories to our teachers or professors or the on the interview. We're just telling stories. So it's just, what stories are you telling yourself, and what story are you telling others? So one day there was a gentleman, and he's out having a coffee with a couple of his buddies, and hey, how's everything going? One guy, oh, he says, horrible. He says, my wife's mad at me. My kids are mad at me. He says, I got all kinds of trouble. I got trouble at work. I got, He says, oh, there's enough about me. He says, how are you doing? Oh, my God, I'm doing so good. You wouldn't believe it. Things are easy and breezy. He says, my wife is happy. My kids are happy. Business is booming. He says, you're kidding. What's the secret? Oh, the secret, he says, I bought this secret. I bought this elephant. And this elephant is the best. He is the best. Tell me about it. He said he does everything. He does everything for us. The kids love him. The kids ride him to school. The neighbors, he talks to all the neighbors, and they go by. He says he comes home from school. He helps with the lawn. He goes back inside. He helps my wife with the dishes. Everything. He does everything. He says, listen, I need that elephant. You know where I can get one just like that? No, I don't know. They told me he was the only one like it. He says, is he for sale? No, he's not for sale. I wouldn't dream of selling this elephant. He says, I'll give you $10,000 in cash for the elephant. I wouldn't. No way. I'm offended you'd even ask. He's not for sale. So I'll give you $20,000. Well, it sounds like you need this elephant a little worse than I do. All right, listen. You come to my house tomorrow with $20,000 in cash, and I'll let you have the elephant. But boy, my family's going to be upset with me. But I'm willing to help you. The next day he comes over, and he pays him the money, and he takes the elephant, and he sees him a few days later, and he says, hey, how's everything going? He says, how's everything going? He said, that elephant is horrible. That elephant, he ate all the shrubs. He ate all the shrubs. My neighbors are suing me. He broke all the dishes in the kitchen. He bit one of the neighbor's kids, and I got a lawsuit. He said, I don't know what to do. He's ruining the neighborhood. He's a menace to society. Public enemy number one. He said, you're never going to sell the elephant if you keep talking like that.
Never going to sell the elephant.
You'll never sell the elephant, Terry, if you keep talking like that. So, things, words have power. And so it's really, so important that I love just listening to the conventions remotely and hearing just such amazing people and such great stories. These words really do have power, Terry.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate it. I called in a favor here to get him to come do this, and you did not disappoint. I'm already getting text messages, people wanting to know if this is being recorded because they want to play this for folks. So great job, and thank you very much.
It's a privilege and a blessing to be with you, Terry. I'll help you anytime you call. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, man.
Bye now.
Okay, guys, let's move on. This is the typically, at our banquet, we do a call to action, and that's when, you make a pledge to donate, the MIC pledge. And I know it's a little harder to do that on Zoom, and, just checking to see if people are just jumping off here now. But before we get into the business meeting, I want to give everybody an opportunity, to make those MIC pledges. You can send your checks in whenever you can to our treasurer, Melissa Smith. So I'm going to open it up. If you would like to be first to make a pledge this year, I know these are tough times with the pandemic and everything, but if you're able to make a donation, then it is greatly appreciated. So I will open it up. Anybody that wants to make a donation, *6, and we will recognize you.
Tara Tate.
Okay, who is that?
Can you hear me? Tara Tate.
Tara.
Memphis. Yes, sir.
Yes, go Tara.
$50.
$50 from Tara Tate. Melissa, are you? Please write these down.
I got it. I'm good.
Okay. Tara Tate starts us off with $50. Who's next?
Deborah Carter.
Deborah Carter.
Deborah Carter, $50.
Deborah Carter, $50. Thank you, Deborah.
Curtis Tillman, Memphis, Tennessee.
Curtis Tillman, Memphis.
$100.
$100. Great. Thank you.
I thought he said 400.
Oh, no.
$100. Thank you, Curtis.
Hey, James and Crystal Brown from Nashville, Tennessee, and we will do $250.
$250. Awesome. Thanks, James and Crystal.
Calvin Poole, Memphis, Tennessee, $50.
Calvin Poole, $50. Thank you, Calvin. Calvin got to go to his first Washington seminar this year. Who's up next?
Jana Jackson, $50.
Jana Jackson, $50. Great, great. Thank you, Jana. Who's up next? Anybody?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. We hear you.
Chester Bailey and Stephanie Bailey, $100.
Chester Bailey, $100. Thank you. Chester, Chester went on his first Washington seminar this year. Coach, his name, everybody calls him. But he's written a book, and he sent me a copy of it. And Chester, I got to tell you, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, getting ready for the convention and everything. But tell the people the title of the book.
Okay, the title of the book is The Bumblebee Who Flew with Eagles.
The Bumblebee Who Flew with Eagles. You can buy it online.
Online, Amazon.com. The Bumblebee Who Flew with Eagles. JetSayBailey.com. It'll be right there.
All right, so look that up and order it. Help
okay.
Chester's a good guy. Okay, who's next?
Andrew and Sherry Thorset.
Okay, Andrew and Sherry Thorset.
$250.
I guess it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I can hear. It's okay. It's all right. I thought you had to do something to make it back.
Andrew and Sherry. Thank you, Sherry.
Isn't that nice?
I can't hear you, Terry.
Okay, that was Andrew and Sherry Thorset. I got
right, $250.
Okay, I got yours. Thank you very much, Andrew and Sherry. Sherry's now living in the Chattanooga area, and she's the secretary of the local chapter, and she's wanting to do some other stuff that she and I have talked about as far as the affiliate that we need to get moving on. Who's next?
Steve and Michelle Quinn.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, $100.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. $100 from our Clarksville folks, and Michelle does a great job with the Bell program up in Clarksville, and we really appreciate that. Who's up next?
Crystal Moore from Memphis, $25. Geraldine Parker from Memphis, $25.
Okay, Crystal Moore and Geraldine from Parker from Memphis, $25 each. Did you get that, Melissa?
Got it.
Okay.
Betty and Ronald Tucker, $50.
Betty Tucker, Clarksville, you'll be hearing from her later from the new president from our Clarksville chapter, $50. Thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
Amanda Jones, $50.
Amanda, thank you. $50 from Amanda Jones.
Greg McFarland, $50.
Greg McFarland, $50. Thank you. Thank you.
June Mangum, $50.
Thank you, June from Memphis.
Who was that again?
June Mangum from Memphis, $50. We have anybody else?
Saheem Benghazi.
All right, what's that? Saheem?
Yeah. Saheem Benghazi, 50 from Cleveland.
Got it. Saheem from Cleveland, $50.
Right.
Okay, we got it.
Yvonne and Lawrence Johnson, Memphis, Tennessee, $50.
Ron Johnson, Memphis, Tennessee, $50. Thank you. Anybody else?
Ashley Butella, $50.
Ashley,
Nashville.
$50. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley.
Maddie Eaton, Memphis, Tennessee, $50.
Okay. What's your first name?
Matt.
I got it. Maddie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maddie Eaton.
Yeah, I got it from Memphis. $50 you said?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Maddie, so much. Anybody else?
Rosie
Christina.
Young,
Go ahead, Miss Rosie.
$300.
Oh, Rosie, good.
This is Christina Clift, 100.
Christina Cliff, president of our Memphis chapter, $100. Thank you, Christina. We have anybody else?
Come in. He's not taking me. Cody taking me.
Anybody else? I think Rosie, you're up. You need to mute, Rosie. Anybody else? Melissa, what are we up to?
Well, let me do some adding. Give me just a second.
Terry, we're up to 1,850.
Josh.
1,850.
I'm glad somebody was adding as we went because I wasn't.
Okay, we got anybody else? Going once?
Terry, Sharon Treadway, $150. We'll make it 2,000 even.
Okay, Sharon Treadway is going to make it 2,000 even. Good. Anybody else? Going once. We're about to give away some great door prizes. We're going to finish out these door.
Hey,
Who's that?
this is Tracy Fields. Tracy Fields, $50, Nashville.
$50. Good. We have anybody else? So we are at $2,050. Going once. Going twice. Okay, Terry and Carrie Smith will then throw in $450 to get us to $2,500. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate. I know this was, tough to do it this way, but really appreciate your generosity and your support of the affiliate. $2,500 will certainly help us do the things that we're trying to accomplish during the coming year. So with that, Melissa, we're going to give away that $50 Amazon card if it's the last thing I do.
Oh, hey, we have an anonymous. Hey, Terry.
$25.
Hey,
What?
we have an anonymous donor that gave $50 also.
Okay, so that puts us at $25.50.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got the $25 Amazon gift card.
And that will go to LaTanya Fletcher.
I don't know, LaTanya. LaTanya, are you here?
I don't see her. Okay. Yvonne Newbert. I know she was on here earlier.
Yvonne, surely you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I know she was earlier.
Thank you.
Okay, our next gift card is, or our next door prize. I've got paper scattered everywhere. Another $25 Amazon gift card from Nashville.
Carolyn Ranker.
I'm here. I'm
You
here. Yep.
Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, next one we've got is $25 cash from the volunteer chapter.
Wendy Bain.
I don't know, Wendy's here. I know Jibby had to leave. Wendy, are you here?
Uh-oh, may not be. I know this person is, if not.
Okay, who is it?
Didn't see him.
Sharon Treadway.
Who? Sharon Treadway?
Sharon Treadway.
I know she's here.
I'm here.
Okay, that was, okay, the next one, we've got $50 cash from the Southeast chapter.
Jana Jackson.
She's here.
I'm here. Wow, I won something. I need to be on a game show.
What was your pledge, Jana?
$50. He gotta give it right back to you, won't he? Thanks, you guys.
Okay, next one. Another we got another $25 e-card from Tagdo.
Sammy Dix.
Sammy Dix. Okay, I don't hear him. Next.
This person I know is on here. Geraldine Parker.
Yeah, Geraldine Parker.
Hey, I'm here. You got me?
I got you.
We got you.
Okay, what did I win? What was it?
It was a $25 Amazon gift card.
All right, yeah. I know, Chris.
Okay. Now
Thank you very much.
Everybody's name goes back in the hat.
Yeah, going back in the hat down, Chris.
This is the biggie. This is a $250 grand prize.
Are you going to do it now or are you going to wait?
We're going to do it now.
Are you sure? Because I ain't got it drawed yet.
No? Okay. You figure that. You do the, get them lined up to draw.
Oh, got to put them all back in first.
Okay, you do that while we start the.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you. Give me a minute.
Give me just a minute.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So the 2020 convention business meeting is now in session. So, I don't think this is going to take a whole lot of time, but we are going to kick off. I've got to find my agenda here. Sorry, guys. Okay, now I've got it. Well, Melissa, you're the up first with the treasurer.
Okay.
Are you able to get it?
Yes, I've got it. Sorry, I was doing one thing and doing the other, so.
I know.
Okay. First one I'll start with is the bail fund. The beginning balance is $7,500. Total revenues is 70 cents. Total disbursements is 0. Ending balance is $7,570. The Affiliate Action Fund, the beginning balance in January 2020 is $11,388.21. Total revenues is $2,500. Total disbursements is $36. Ending balance is $13,852.21. And in the bail fund, that was as of July. Sorry, I should have said that. The general fund, the beginning balance in January 2020 was $24,307.89. Total revenues is $13,681.77.
Did you unmute me?
Total disbursements is $15,472.05. Ending balance is $22,517.61. This is my report.
Okay, so we can discuss. I got some things I want to explain about that, but if I could have Melissa, are you moving to approve your report?
Yes, I make a motion to move my report.
Excuse me.
Second,
Second.
Second.
Aaron.
Aaron seconded. Okay. So just so everybody understands, the $7,500 bail grant fund is something that did not exist previously. We got a $10,000 grant thanks to Christina's efforts, and we were going to spend that. $7,500 of that was going toward the bail program this past year. We were supposed to spend that money by June 30th. We had to cancel bail, so we obviously didn't get to have the bail program. So we put that money over into a separate account so we could show the grantor that it is there and that it is going to be spent for the intended purposes. It won't happen. It did not happen in the fiscal year that they gave it to us, but there's not an issue with it. I've communicated this with them. And they have not indicated that it's any problem. So that's why, there was a large amount came out of the general fund, and then suddenly we have a $7,500 account with the bail program in it. So that's what, that explains part of that. We also had a large donation of $10,000, in memory of someone who had recently passed away. So, that was a huge help to us as well. So that's why some of the numbers that I might not have understood why there was so much money coming in and going out. It was actually just the money going out was basically just moved to another fund, and the money coming in was the donation. So we got any questions or discussion about the treasurer's report? Hearing none.
Activate press space bar.
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Nope. Anybody opposed? Okay, next up, James legislative report from James Brown.
Wow.
All right, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Well, there's a few things that's went on legislatively this year that probably a lot of the affiliate does not know about. Number one, the Council on Developmental Disability, they contacted me around, I want to say around the fall of last year, and said, James, we know you work in transportation. We also know that one of the biggest problems in our state, and mainly every state for people with disabilities, is the issue of transportation. And of course, there's a problem where you have, a lot of transportation money flowing down through the ADA apparatus, and it's very complicated and it's very unwieldy and hard to work with, mainly because you have you've got however many counties, 95 counties in the state, and then you have municipalities as well. And they're all different. And that's the way the ADA was set up. And it's very unwieldy. And I told the office there, the department, that, one of the biggest problem is that there's not really a couple of dedicated people who are working on this issue throughout the state. I mean, every year, a lot of the, departments A lot of the organizations with disabilities will get together and go, what's our biggest problem? And we'll go, oh, it's transportation. And they go, oh, we're going to work on that this year. And then they'll figure out that it's so complicated. They have no idea what to do. The problem is so big. And I said, you really got to have a group of people to work on this at a state level and try and coordinate some of these pieces. And as I was replying back in the email, I thought to myself, well, you know, Senator Becky Massey, who's been one of our biggest champions in the state legislature, just got appointed as the chair of transportation in the Senate. And that would be the Transportation Committee. And so I said, this is like a beautiful opportunity. I mean, this is like God dropped this thing in our laps to be able to work it out just perfectly. So we went and met with Senator Massey, and she loved the idea. So I wrote the legislation, and I had to be careful because I work for the Department of Transportation not to get too in the weeds with this, especially inside the legislature itself. But I wrote up the legislation. I sent it to Senator Massey. She basically took it and ran with it. We also got the co-chair in the House to sponsor it. And again, I'm kind of disappointed I couldn't talk about this with too many people as it was going on, but it was kind of a little bit of a conflict of interest for me to be doing this. But I did tell the commissioner I was doing it, but I just had to lay off some. So it got passed really quickly. It actually was passed maybe 2 weeks before COVID hit. And so now with TDOT, there is a Department of Accessible Transportation. And that department is going to be working solely on accessible transportation for disabilities, whether that's, you know, fixed route or paratransit or otherwise. But it's just a great opportunity. I think it's the first of its kind in the country. And hopefully we'll be hearing more about that as time goes by. Right now, there's a little bit of a roadblock, although the department or the office is now there. It's actually been a little bit blocked by a hiring freeze. So there's not a manager there yet, but there are two. There is a supervisor and another employee, a program monitor working in the office right now. So it's very exciting. And we're hopefully going to have some innovations that are going to be really, really critical in our state in the next 5 years. We'll be coming up with a transportation plan, a strategic plan of how we're going to do that. And I'm on that committee. So it should be getting done according to the law by February. So been working on that. Also, we've been working on just recently something called the Nashville Neighborhood for All project that was really inspired by the time I spent in Baltimore. Many of you know the Inner Harbor area up there where the National Center is located. It's really a beautiful neighborhood, historical neighborhood. And there's a lot of blind people who work in that neighborhood and live in that neighborhood. And so, you know, being a blind person in that neighborhood, you go into a restaurant, you know, they've all got Braille menus. They treat you just like you're anybody else. So there's no weird treatment. People don't look at you quite like you're an alien there. So it's really kind of a beautiful thing that I noticed. And I thought to myself, what if we could do something like that here in Nashville? If we could have a neighborhood where people with disabilities live and, you know, hopefully work and have recreation. And so I talked to Representative Cooper's office about it first. And of course, I talked to the mayor's office, and we are really kind of moving forward with trying to create a neighborhood to where 5 to 10% of those people living in that neighborhood have disabilities. And there's a lot of things that go into it. And we might have to get the USDA mortgage program to open up a little bit more for this particular venture, but we're also going to have rentals as well as people buying, but it could be really, really cool. And it's called the Nashville Neighborhood for All project. And if we get this to work, hopefully we'll be able to spread it out to places like Memphis and Knoxville and Chattanooga, Clarksville, and, you know, any major city. So that's something that might be coming up legislatively in the future. And it's really actually getting some good progress here. But of course, our Washington seminar is going to be virtual. I'll be working with a lot of chapter presidents to make sure that happens, to make sure the process is efficient, and also to make sure that we get a lot of our congressmen and senators to sign on to these bills. I know right now, our congressman from Nashville has signed on to all the bills, and I think Memphis has got at least a couple of bills signed on to, but we want to go ahead and just sweep the whole state. So we'll be working on that plan, starting up probably right at the 1st of December, I do believe. That's my report, Terry.
Okay, thank you.
Warley, I just want to say, James, thank you and the affiliate, the work you're doing on transportation. I just want to reiterate what you said. My goodness, how true it rang. How many National Federation of the Blind or Independent Living or DVR groups have you been in? We got a resolution about transportation. Everybody's, yeah, we all need transportation. But it's so complicated. Everybody goes home and says, yeah, well, let's sell candy bars instead. That's easier. And raffle tickets, that's easier. This is landmark what you're doing there in terms of the transit. I'd like to get a copy of that, and we'll bring it to our convention next week. Thank you.
All right, no problem, Kevin.
Okay, next up is a membership committee, and Jimmy Bain had to leave. Jimmy is a psychologist counselor. He had a client that could not reschedule or had to be scheduled right as we're doing this, so he had to leave. Jimmy did want you to know that he continues to serve on the National Membership Committee, getting that information and distributing it as it comes down. His membership committee has a representative from every chapter and every division. They've had at least 2 meetings, and that they continue to come up with ideas on how to spearhead our membership drive. And we'll be hearing more about that as time goes on. So that's what he was reporting. So Melissa, do you guys have a winner for us yet? Or do you have you can do a drawing?
Yes, I have a winner.
Okay.
It is, well, if they're on here, that is. It's going to be Lynn Brumley.
Lynn Brumley, are you on here?
Brumley, sorry. And if not that one, we've got another one.
Okay, if you know Lynn, tell her she lost $250. Make sure she understands.
Okay, next.
Okay.
You want another one?
Yes.
Jacob Yarbrough.
Jacob Yarbrough, are you on?
My name is Lynn. My name is Lynn, Terry.
Funny.
Never mind.
Okay.
No Jacob?
No Jacob?
Okay, go ahead. Give us a winner.
Okay, well, I know this person for sure is on here. Michelle Quinn.
Michelle. I hope you haven't left, Michelle.
Michelle.
Baby.
Michelle, you better answer.
6 to unmute.
Star 6.
Is she gone? Is she really gone?
Oh, yep.
Baby's about to lose it.
You ain't never lied.
Next name.
Oh,
I'll give it to her.
That's all right. Pull my name. I'll tell her.
Baby's like, I got this.
Oh, mine.
Okay.
Betty, you already lost your $50. $250 be an increase.
Okay.
No.
Last call from Michelle.
Baby's about to go.
Okay, Michelle.
Michelle.
I'm sorry, Betty.
All right.
You're not here?
No.
No.
Okay, next name.
Linda Martin.
Linda.
She's not on here.
Michelle says she's here. Y'all can't hear her. Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
Yeah, I heard the name Michelle.
What?
I heard Michelle mention her name.
She's there, but her mic is not working.
Yeah.
Did she text? Michelle, if you're there, text me.
Thanks, Terry. All right, Melissa.
Where'd I go? So we're gonna, while we'll see if she, I don't know what to do. Don't text her and tell her now.
I'm not.
She can chat.
Can dial in on the phone.
Michelle can chat.
Maybe give her, it may take her a minute to text.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay.
Who called you? and
Can you
told
hear me?
Who told you to call and call back in?
No, I didn't. I've been trying to unmute myself. I don't know why my phone wasn't working.
There's no one more happy. There's no one more happy that you're here
Then Betty.
than I am.
You can hear me, right? You can hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in the car. That's why. I'm going, I'm here. I promise you I'm here.
Okay. Congratulations, Michelle. We knew you were here.
Oh. Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to our chapter report. We're going to start, we're going to go opposite direction this time. We're going to go east to west. So Greg Sell from Knoxville, are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
All right. Well, I'm Greg Sell from the volunteer chapter. We are glad to have 100% participation in our conference this weekend. As far as fundraisers, we did not really do anything because of COVID, but last year for Christmas, we was able to get together brand new toys and donate them to the Mission of Hope in Knoxville to help those children who didn't have anything for Christmas. We are going to give a $25 donation to the affiliate this year, and that pretty much finishes my report.
Okay. Melissa, please write down what these donations are. Some of them have already sent them in, I know. But if you
I've got it.
If you have not sent them in, then be sure to get them to Melissa. If you don't have her address, then you can contact me. Okay, moving to the Southeast chapter. Let's hear from Cleveland and Christy with the Southeast chapter. Cleveland. Are you here, Christy?
I am.
Okay. Take it away.
Hey, my name is Christy Odell, and I'm president of Southeast Chapter. And I think we had about 6 members on here for convention.
Good.
And we've only been able to do one fundraiser during COVID, which was Papa John's Pizza. And I think so far we've made $40, which is pretty good.
At our convention.
None.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we are donating $50 to the affiliate.
Thank you for the South. Thank you, Christy, for the Southeast chapter. Byron Meter from the Chattanooga chapter. Are you here? Byron Meter. Okay, I can tell you I'm from the Chattanooga chapter, so I'll just tell you that Chattanooga chapter has been meeting virtually. We've had some struggles with attendance, and but our membership rolls are actually up, as Byron said, as far as members over last year. We will be having our next meeting in November. We meet on the first Monday of every month, and the chapter voted to donate $50 to the affiliate. I think it's $50, Sherry. I'm not even looking at it. If I'm wrong, let me know. I think it was $50.
It was 50.
Okay, thanks. So that's from Chattanooga report. Now go to Nashville. Who's reporting for Nashville since Jimmy's not here?
Terry, this is Jana Jackson. I am covering for my friend Jimmy today. And the Nashville chapter, we're one of the original chapters of the Tennessee affiliate. And we are so proud of our history of contributions, not only to Nashville and Middle Tennessee, but also our state and national affiliates. And we have a great loving spirit, positive energy, and a giving spirit. We're always giving to not only to members in need, but also to folks in the community, whether it be to shelters or different nonprofits and other charities. And even during the pandemic, we have been growing. We've added over 7 members. Even without a face-to-face meeting, we're doing Zoom calls, of course. We want to acknowledge our members, our leaders, I'm sorry. Of course, our fearless leader is Jimmy Boehm, who is president. I am the brand new VP. And then we have our awesome treasurer, James Brown, and our amazing hardworking secretary, Sheila Hanson, does a great job. And then on our board, we also have HK Derryberry and a brand new board member named Tracy Fields. We love having her. And so we're proving that no pandemic will keep the spirit of the Federation from flowing throughout the world, throughout the country. So we continue to offer several things to members and anyone in the Nashville area. We offer a transit grant where we pay round trip tickets for first timers to our meeting. And we also pay one way for any member who needs assistance getting to the meeting, as well as a discounted transportation fare. We also offer tech grants. We offer 2 assistive technology grants and 4 assistive technology training grants. And moving forward, we're going to continue to do those things. And Mr. President, we have donated $100 to the door prizes for our convention, and we would like you to accept our donation to the affiliate of $400.
Awesome. Thank you for Nashville chapter. Good job. Now we move to Clarksville. Betty Tucker.
Hello, everyone. I'm the newly president of Clarksville chapter. We currently have a total of 9 members. I'm the president. The vice president is Calvin Brown. The secretary is Michelle Quinn. The treasurer is my husband, Ronald Tucker. Our board chairman person is Anita Henderson. Our board member is Kenneth Rogers. Another board member is Stephen Quinn. And another board member is John Collier. And one more board member is George Radcliffe. And at our old our old members, we had a total of 8, and now we have 3 additional new members. And our affiliation would like to donate $100 to the affiliation.
Okay, thank you, Clarksville. Moving on now to Memphis.
Good afternoon, everybody, to the NFBFTN board, our national rep, and to all the members on the call. I bring you greetings from the Memphis chapter. Like Nashville, we are one of the founding members of our state affiliate. We were founded under the idea that all individuals, regardless of their race, should be included in our organization. And we believe that now, more than ever, that is something to address. Since our last meeting, which was, I guess, March of last year, the Memphis chapter has been active in our community. We have celebrated, like the affiliate, our 50th anniversary as a chapter by holding a banquet. And in that banquet, we talked about some of the challenges that still face people with disabilities that individuals who were involved in the civil rights movement of the 60s faced. Adequate access to housing, transportation, equal access to a good education and employment. And so those are some of the areas that we know are still important. One of the other ones that we talk about are, of course, sorry, hold on. Had to turn voiceover off. One of the other things we talked about as a chapter was voter suppression, how rampant it is rampant it is across our country and within our state. And so one of the projects we took on this past year was to ensure that we worked to send letters and our support and demand to Governor Lee to ensure that we had accessible absentee ballots during this voting season. That we worked with our Shelby County Election Commission to ensure that everybody had adequate training to be able to use accessible voting machines in our county. We've also been working with our local Office of Youth Services. Even during the pandemic, we were able to send 10 visually impaired Shelby County students between the ages of 14 and 18 to a program called I Am Included. It was a 2-week summer program which they attended, that we taught them how to apply for a job, how to develop a resume, about disability etiquette, some of those things we learned sometimes at Washington Seminar. We talked to them about, opening a bank account and looking for a college, and what are some of the things that you should expect from your Students with Disability Services office. And at the end of that 2-week program, each student received a stipend of $600. So that was a great collaboration that our chapter did with the city that we're very proud of. We've also continued to collaborate with our local Tri-State Adaptive Sports Association to ensure that equality goes into the area of recreation, not only for adults, but also our students. So we work with them to ensure that that opportunity is there through goalball, archery, tandem cycling, and cornhole. And I know I'm missing something, bowling. So when we got to March and we had the pandemic hit, we, like other chapters, moved. We had a brief pause in March and in April, but we moved to doing conference calls in May, and we realized that we had 2 pandemics about in June. We realized there were really 2 pandemics that we were going through. We were going through COVID-19 as a country, but we were also going through a pandemic, systemic racism. And so as a chapter, we discussed, are we a welcoming chapter to all races? I always tell my members that I don't expect you to leave any part of you at the door, whether that's your gender, your faith, your race, whatever it is. All of you is what we need at a chapter, because that's who you are. So we talked about ways to be welcoming. We talked about ways that the organization as a whole could be better, or that they're doing well at. And of course, we have brought in national speakers from organizations like the Alabama Freedom Center, as well as other local businesses as well. We've continued to maintain our membership. Luckily, we've had no fatalities during the pandemic. We've had some members who have gotten ill and who thankfully have recovered. I'm proud to have a great board who loves to, they don't love it, but they will strategically plan with me upon occasion, at least once or twice a year. And we continue to do that even during this time. We have managed to figure out how to begin fundraising anew in 2021. We are going to do a drive-by fish fry because, Memphis, we love food. We cook it well. So we are going to adapt it from possibly doing it in person to doing it where people pick up plates. And then we also looked at, we are applying for a raffle through the state of Tennessee to do our annual raffle. One of our last things that we're excited about doing, we had to put it off, but we continue to work on it, is we are doing 2 seminars in the spring of 2021, one of which was supposed to happen this month, which is our, it's a seminar for older individuals who are blind to talk about adjusting to vision changes as you grow older, whether that's because of age or because of acquiring a disability. And we've worked with several representatives to come in to speak about different areas. And we also plan to do a seminar for youth in this area, whether it's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas, but in the tri-state area, to talk about issues that are impacting our blind youth and their families. They're more than evident now because of the COVID pandemic. Our schools are going virtual, and I'm sure a lot of yours are. The School for the Blind has had its own share of going virtual and coming back together, and unfortunately having to go virtual yet again as of Monday. And we don't want our students to be left behind, whether it's because they need access to technology, whether that's because they don't know, their families don't know how to support them. But we want to make sure that our kids aren't left behind during the COVID-19 pandemic, whether they're in school or whether they're going virtual. But I am proud to serve with my board. My first vice president is Craig McFarland. My second vice president is Deborah Carter. Our current secretary is Evelyn Hogue. Our treasurer, Miss Rosie Young. And my two board members, Yvonne Johnson and Rexy Bowers. We look forward to continuing to grow our membership. We are looking at some changes that will be brought to the board eventually for our Constitution, because it always needs a little fine tuning every now and then. But we continue to support our affiliate. We have made a $50 donation to Door Prizes, a $50 donation to the general fund, and look forward to seeing how not only our city continues to grow, but to continue to work to improve the lives of blind people in our city and state and country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Memphis. Josh, do you want to say anything about the at-large chapter?
Thank you, Terry. This is Joshua Harper. I've been asked to kind of help rebuild the at-large chapter. I definitely look forward to working with Cassie on rebuilding. So if you would like to be a member of the at-large chapter, look out for information on the website and things. The at-large chapter is set up to where if you don't have access to a local meeting, you can come to the at-large chapter to have meetings. And I would love to be able to see the at-large chapter be like the hub of all the chapters. So you start in at-large, and then you figure out there's enough of you in a particular area and build a chapter and keep blooming from there.
All right, thanks, Josh. Now to our divisions. Sharon from the Merchants.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Treadway, president of the Tennessee Association of Blind Merchants. We had a really good meeting yesterday afternoon, and appreciate Kevin Worley and Terry and our national president, Nikki Gakos, with the National Association of Blind Merchants, for being on that meeting. The Merchants division, or merchants in general, have had a pretty hard year. The pandemic has hit probably about 65% of the vendors in this state are unemployed at this time, or working at about 10 or 15% of what their sales were a year ago. And so we all have to find ways to do things a little differently. And we'll be focusing this next year in our Merchants division on helping vendors be able to do that, bring in some resources through our Merchants division. We're planning quarterly meetings or seminars to keep information flowing. I will say the part of this convention that I miss is I didn't get to put any goodie bags together this year. So you have virtual goodie bags this year. It's not quite the same, is it? But we, the Merchants division, have a really strong board, and I appreciate all their work. And I'm not going to try to list them because my list is in the other room. But we work really well together. Some of them are blind vendors and some of them aren't. And they're supporting us, and we appreciate that. We have donated $100 to the Door Prizes, and we have a check for the affiliate for $250.
Thank you, Sharon. Now to Tag Do. I know Steve's not here. Christy, are you doing Tag Do? Somebody was, Jimmy sent me a note saying somebody was going to be doing the Tag Do report in his absence. But Steve wasn't going to be there. Jimmy.
Terry?
Yeah.
What, did you ask me something?
Are you doing the Tag Do report?
I wasn't asked to.
Okay, well, you want to,
I'm not.
well, Steve couldn't be here and Jimmy was not, he had to do his appointment. So he had told me somebody was going to report out on TAG Day, I thought, but I couldn't remember who it was. I assumed it. Who's the vice president?
Me.
Okay, that's you. So you just want to tell us about your meeting yesterday?
Sure. We had a really good Hop Up seminar yesterday. We had Nell White, who is a behavioral dog specialist, who gave a really good speech about that. It was very informative. And usually every month, the third Monday, at 8 o'clock, we have our monthly meeting for TAGDU. And we also have a Facebook page, TAGDU, Tennessee Association of Guide Dog Users. Whether you have a dog, you want a dog, or you're interested in a dog, come join us and find out what we're about.
Woohoo! Good job.
Okay, so is Roxy here? Does she want to report in on their meeting with the seniors yesterday?
Hi, Terry. This is Yvonne Newbert.
Yvonne.
First off, great appreciation and thank you does go to Roxy Chamberlain for initiating the seniors division. And yesterday we had our organizational meeting. Unfortunately, we had it the same time as the vendors and the others. So there were a lot of people who probably would have come though, didn't get to make it. But started the meeting with election of board of directors. And I was elected as the new president, and Beverly Parker was elected as vice president. Judy Denning was secretary, and Roxy Chamberlain as treasurer, and Curtis Tillman as board member. And first we did our reading of the Constitution. We went over it a section at a time, and everybody approved it. And then we talked a little bit about what do we want some of our goals to be. Our first goal, of course, is building membership. And we have set a monthly time to meet, and that will be the first Thursday of every month, unless it interferes with the presidential report. It's the first Thursday of every month through Zoom. You can find that. We'll release it on the listserv. And what some of our initial goals are is to work together as a support group for each other, because you have intersectionality going on with being seniors as well as being blind. And one of the issues with seniors is, that's one of your first things to go, is a slight or sometimes a drastic loss of vision. And we want to be there for each other and also for our communities. I work with a group of veterans, and I was really surprised that a lot of the seniors and a lot of different people who are going through vision loss do not know about the National Federation of the Blind, and also are not aware of the resources that they can get their hands on. And we hope to develop a informal teaching, because you grow up without technology and you become a senior and you're needing this technology, and technology can be a little bit intimidating. And hopefully as seniors with the NFB, we will be able to jump in our communities and say, hey, I know how to use this. I know how to do this. If I don't know how to do this, I know Tracy. I'll ask her and she'll know how to do this. And that goes back to the whole family thing. We are an organization, but so is a family, and we are a family, and we'll be working together. And I invite all of you. We've set the age. Roxy said the AARP age is 50 and above. So we followed that and set the age at 50 and above. And as our board, we are very honored and very proud to serve in the capacity of being the seniors division. And again, before I close, Roxy, again, another thank you to you for putting this in motion and following through with the idea you had about doing this. Thank you.
Great. We sent Roxy last year to the seniors retreat over in South Carolina, I think it was. So this is something that's been in the works ever since then. And you know, we appreciate her efforts and look forward to working with you, Yvonne. The Constitution, Roxy sent it to me just in the last day or two. We will present that to the board of directors for formal approval to formally create this division. And that'll happen at our next board meeting. So congratulations, and we look forward to great things. So now we move on to resolutions. Resolutions are how the National Federation of the Blind establishes policy, and they are very important. And I want to show you how smart your president is. I mean, he really is pretty brilliant. He writes up the agenda, and he puts down Curtis Tillman as the chair of the resolutions committee. He realizes that he made a mistake, that there was supposed to be Craig McFarland. And so he communicated that to Curtis and Craig. And so Craig was going to chair it. Craig had some technical difficulties, couldn't get there. And guess who stepped in and chaired the meeting? Curtis Tillman. So Curtis sort of ended up being the chair because I was so smart to think of in advance that he was going to do that. So yeah, I give myself credit. So Curtis, you want to give us a report here?
Okay, can you all hear me?
We hear you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. And also good afternoon to my fellow federationists. As Terry Smith, our president, said, everything just worked out the way he originally wanted it to work out to begin with, which was he being the chairperson of the resolution committee. As chairperson of the resolution committee and the members, we were presented with 4 resolutions and the Live the Life You Want seminar. We went over in detail and discussion all of those resolutions. And we are recommending to the Tennessee affiliate body to pass and adopt all of those resolutions as they are being presented in their totality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. And I really do appreciate you stepping in like that. I know there's a little confusion, a little chaos, but I know it's something that Craig couldn't help, and I'm thankful that you were there. I want to read the resolutions real quick just for ease of time. And resolution 20-1 regarding pre-employment transition services. Remember, we talked to Rehab about this last night. Whereas the Rehabilitation Act requires states to spend 15% of their vocational rehabilitation dollars each year on pre-employment transition services called PREETs to youth with disabilities, and whereas such services provide an early start with career exploration and preparation for adult life, and whereas blind youth face unique challenges in preparing for and entering the world of employment, whereas effective pre-ets can provide blind youth with the tools to successfully bridge the gap between youth and adulthood, and whereas the Tennessee Division of Rehabilitation Services currently offers no specialized pre-ets to blind youth, and whereas the National Federation of the Blind's National Center offers a unique mentoring program for blind youth, which has been endorsed by other state VR programs, one of which has communicated to the division how beneficial to the NFB program has been to youth in their state. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee, gathered virtually in convention on this, the 24th day of October 2020, that this organization urged the Tennessee Division of Rehabilitation Services to make specialized pre-employment training services available to blind youth and make every effort to build a collaboration with the NFB to implement its mentoring program in this state. I mentioned in my presidential report yesterday that I did introduce Anil Lewis in Baltimore to Kelly, Tiffany Kelly yesterday, who spoke last night. She sort of hinted that there could be some good things coming on that, so I hope that is the case. But you know, we did, so we have got that ball rolling, and we're hoping that there is some follow through on that. So Curtis, can I consider that as a motion to approve?
Yes, you can.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Deborah Carter, second, I heard.
Craig McFarland.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, resolution 2020-2 regarding the Tennessee Business Enterprises Program. Whereas TCA 714501 et sec establishes the Tennessee Business Enterprises Program and grants a priority for blind vendors to own and operate vending businesses in state and local government buildings. And whereas this priority applies to any new buildings constructed on college and university campuses in Tennessee, and whereas Middle Tennessee State University and now other universities are ignoring the priority and allowing the company with the campus dining contract to place POD or pod markets in buildings covered by the priority for the blind, and whereas these pod markets are in direct competition in some instances with blind vendors on these campuses, which impacts their ability to earn a living. And whereas the Department of Human Services, acting as a state licensing agency, has done little to prevent the spread of the pod markets or to protect the priority afforded to the blind. And whereas if the practice on these campuses is not stopped, blind vendors will eventually be marginalized to the point that they can no longer remain in business. And whereas the department has a statutory dispute resolution mechanism to resolve issues such as this, and it has failed to take advantage of this process. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee, gathered in convention on this, the 24th day of October 20, that the Department of Human Services be urged to take any and all steps available to protect the priority on all college and university campuses in Tennessee, including filing a complaint with the Secretary of State if necessary, and be it further resolved that if the department fails to act affirmatively in this regard, that the Committee of Blind Vendors be encouraged to file a grievance and pursue a full evidentiary hearing and federal arbitration if necessary. I did have a suggestion that we change urge to insist, which I think I'm going to make that part of this. So Curtis's, that is a Curtis's motion. Is there a second?
Yes, that's considered as a motion.
Okay. Who was that, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next one is resolution 20-3 regarding an emergency appropriation for Randolph-Shepherd vendors. Whereas nationwide, approximately 1,800 blind entrepreneurs earn a livelihood owning and operating vending facilities in government buildings pursuant to the Randolph-Shepherd Act and related state laws. And whereas Tennessee has approximately 110 blind vendors licensed and operating in Tennessee, and whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating impact on blind vendors due to the closing of government buildings, and whereas approximately 70% of the blind vendors across the country are currently either completely shut down or operating on a very small scale with few customers. And whereas this has created an extreme financial hardship on the blind vendors, and whereas blind vendors were not able to pivot like other food service establishments to a pickup and delivery model, and whereas the National Federation of the Blind and its Merchants Division has asked Congress for financial relief for the blind vendors, and whereas the House 2021 Appropriations Bill includes $20,000 for Randolph-Shepherd vendors to be divided amongst the states on a pro rata basis to provide relief to the blind vendors, and whereas if enacted, Tennessee vendors would receive approximately $1.2 million in relief, and whereas the Senate has not passed a 2021 appropriation bill yet, now therefore be it resolved by the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee, gathered virtually in convention on this, the 24th day of October, 2020, that this organization urged Senators Alexander and Blackburn to support inclusion of the $20 million in the Senate appropriations bill. Curtis moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Somebody needs to.
Terry.
Who has it?
Carolyn Ranker
Question.
seconded.
Who did? Carolyn.
Carolyn Ranker.
Okay, any discussion?
Terry, a question.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's a misspeak or I misheard when you was talking about the appropriation. I thought you read 20,000, and that
It was a
should be
misread.
20
It's
million.
20 million.
20 million. Did I say 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
did say 20,000. Yeah.
20 million.
I just want to be sure.
Yeah, it is.
Worley, Terry, send that to me so I can introduce the same exact resolution next week at Colorado's convention. I'll just switch Colorado to Tennessee and we'll be good to go.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
Terry, Sharon Treadway. I just want to say thank you to the affiliate for the support that they give to the merchants, and we appreciate you passing the 2 resolutions.
I second that.
All in favor of this motion, say aye.
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 Okay, passes. Resolution 2020-4 regarding philosophy of blindness. Whereas having a clearly communicated philosophy of blindness that fosters independence is crucial for any organization serving blind people, and whereas an organization's philosophy, which demonstrates firmly held beliefs and constitutes a pattern of thoughts about the abilities of blind people, and whereas these firmly held beliefs and patterns of thought are filtered down throughout the organization and guide an organization's actions, and whereas the National Federation of the Blind has a philosophy that encourages blind people to explore the boundaries of what is possible, and whereas the philosophy believes that blind people are best suited to know what is best for them, and whereas the Division of Rehabilitation Services has no such philosophy as evidenced by the fact the division has no blind people in management positions, takes a custodial approach to blind people by providing services in centers that do not promote independence, provides no real training to new or current employees on a philosophy of blindness and has discontinued the practice of requiring new employees to train for a period of time under sleep shades. And whereas blind persons who have a strong philosophy of blindness are better equipped to be employed, which is the #1 goal of the vocational rehabilitation program. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee, gathered virtually in convention on this, the 24th day of October 2020, that the Division of Rehabilitation Services be encouraged to work with the affiliate to provide training to agency staff and engage in meaningful dialogue about a strong philosophy of blindness, and be it further resolved that the organization demand that the division comply with the client choice provisions of the Rehabilitation Act and inform all VR clients in need of facility-based services about the availability of the Louisiana Center for the Blind, Colorado Center for the Blind, and Blindness Inc., all of whom have strong philosophies. And be it further resolved that the division create a task force to study the benefits and feasibility of establishing a standalone center that encompasses a strong philosophy of blindness in particular. So Curtis and the committee have moved approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I need a name, somebody. Just shout out your name.
Yvonne.
Tracy Fields.
Excuse me.
Okay. So any discussion?
Yes. Terry, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, this is Tracy Fields. So basically, I just wanted to say, since, I'm a TRC employee, for those of you who don't know that, last night they talked about the TRC program and the way that they've changed. Basically, what they've done is they've taken away the rehabilitative part of the training program. The VIS unit that used to be there is no longer. So they were talking about how they're really proud of the fact that they're offering the people the ability to get blindness skills while they're getting other skills to get them toward a job. But basically what they're doing is they're trying to kind of speed you through the rehabilitative process and throw you into classes that you're not ready for. By, you don't have the technology, you don't have the mobility skills that you need. They're just kind of bypassing all of that. And so I just wanted to let you guys all know that, because they kind of made it sound good when they were presenting it last night. But it's really not good for people who've just lost their sight or who don't have the skills that they need to, get out and gain employment. So I really think that this is a really good resolution.
Terry, this is Christine. I do have a question or a concern about the resolution.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify, maybe I misheard the line, but towards the therefore part, I think there was a statement in there that said that that recipients who are needing facility-based services should be told about Louisiana, ... And I'm just wondering if that doesn't go back to an issue that we faced in the past where VR counselors were recommending certain facilities. In other words, they're not mentioning, all of them. We're asking them to mention certain ones. And I'm just wondering, would that be an issue?
Well, I don't know. It could be. I think it would be
I think it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but that is my concern.
if they would only refer people to one of those centers, I would be happy. I mean, If that is the problem, that they're only recommending the Colorado Center or the Louisiana Center or Blindness Inc., I would have less of a concern about this whole issue.
Sherry Dorsett.
Go, Sherry.
So as it stands currently with blind services, to obtain your certification in rehabilitation counseling, which is the goal of employment by, a rehabilitation counselor to have, their degree in rehabilitation counseling. Therefore, they can sit for the certification. That is a master's degree. Currently, they are overlooking master's degree level applicants in favor of social workers. I can speculate on why. You can get a bachelor's in social work. They can pay you less, obviously, because you have a bachelor's versus a master's. So at the last time I looked, which has been about a year ago, there are very few rehab counselors who have rehabilitation counseling credentials, simply because they're master's degrees and they would rather hire bachelors. There's no real bachelor's in rehab counseling, it's master's. So right now, as it stands, most rehab counselors in blind services are not rehab counselors, actually they're social workers. The handful that I've come in contact with and several that went through my graduate program who were already rehab counselors admitted to me they had never even met a blind person. So I really think that this will begin at least the conversation in this state that the Federation is watching.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the resolution say aye.
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 Opposition.
Aye.
Okay, so was that a vote in opposition?
Yeah, one vote.
Okay. We move on to the election. I had appointed Natalie Norwood to chair the nominating committee. Natalie, I want to recognize you at this time. Natalie. Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes.
While waiting, I would just like to say that I really appreciate the assistance of Governor Statement from the Southeast chapter, and also he stepped in as secretary, and also Yvonne Newbert, who was very helpful with her knowledge of the resolutions. So just want to shout them out for stepping in and helping us get through this.
Okay, Natalie, are you here?
Okay. I don't see her listed unless she's on her phone.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and the board had voted and agreed, and the nominating committee had agreed that we would not hold elections this year, that the current board would remain in place until next year, and then we will hold elections next year and get caught up. So that means that next year, whoever is elected as would normally be getting elected a 2-year term, elected a 1-year term next year. That way we get caught up. Would anybody like to make that an actual motion?
So moved.
Who is that?
Christina.
Second.
Who seconded?
Second.
I didn't hear the name. Who seconded?
Craig McFarland.
Okay. Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, congratulations to the old board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, we're wrapping it up. So the convention, national convention will probably occur prior to our next meeting. We probably won't be able to have an in-person meeting it's not definite that we don't have one late spring, but it'll probably be fall whenever the pandemic thing eases up and we have a vaccine. So we need to select our delegates for the national convention. So do we have a motion to?
I make a motion that you are the delegate and Jimmy is the alternate.
There you go.
Terry Smith is the delegate and Jimmy is the alternate. Sorry.
So move. A second.
A second.
Second.
Oh.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Was there somebody trying to say something? Okay, next is we need to have a talk about our 2021 convention. We were supposed to be in Clarksville this year. We alternate those. We go Middle Tennessee one year, then we rotate between Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga the other years. So since this one is virtual, I want to recognize Betty Tucker from the Clarksville chapter. Betty, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I want to turn it over to you.
Okay, I would like for y'all to reconsider us to have the next convention here at Clarksville, since we tried so hard and not due to our circumstances and due to the coronavirus, we didn't get a change. And at the time, we only had 8 members. Now we have a total of 9. And I think we did a good job on finding the right place in the right area. So I wish y'all would give us that consideration to let us do it again.
So moved.
Second.
Betty, is that a motion to do that?
Yes.
And who seconded?
Christina.
Terry.
Everyone?
Okay,
I
so
think Christina was the first to say.
is there any discussion about, and I would say the hotel that we were scheduled to have it at, if we can get it again, would be one of the nicer hotels that
Yes.
we will have been in.
And in that area, Terry, we have new sidewalks and everything put in, and there will be traffic lights up for people to use, far as for the visual impaired and blind.
There are restaurants nearby.
Yes, it is.
There's something right there in the parking lot. I can't even remember what it is.
I think that Ruby Tuesdays or something like that.
You got Ruby Tuesday. You got
Logan. Yeah, Logan's just what it was thinking of. Okay. Any more discussion?
And it's just gonna be awesome.
Jimmy. Hey, for those who don't know, Betty and that chapter, I think Terry, you mentioned, has worked they worked so hard,
Yes.
and a lot of planning, and just really, we see all that hard work that they did. So I think it just would be really nice to give them that opportunity to do that. We appreciate all the work that they did do, and even though we didn't have it this year, we look forward if the vote goes in. We're really appreciative for all the hard work you guys have done up to this point.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of having our 2021 conference?
Aye.
Clarksville, say aye.
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 Terry,
Yes.
this is Natalie. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I'm sorry. I was trying to speak. My phone was unmuted. I'm not really sure what was going on, but I couldn't get you all to hear me. My apologies.
Not a problem. We're all good. Anyway, that concludes the business of this convention. I want to take just a minute again to thank everybody that participated. I couldn't be happier with the way the convention has gone. I did not relish the idea of having a virtual convention. I do not love the technology side of this, but I've got to thank Jimmy and Josh who have made the Zoom portion of this for us. I couldn't have done it without them. I appreciate all of the support from I've gotten from the board all year long. I appreciate Josh is on the board, but Josh is just on the technology side. You know, he's been a lifesaver as well in helping. So, you know, we have a great board. We have an active board, and you know, we try to meet frequently, so everybody's in the loop and as far as what's going on and things that we are doing. As I said, we have a strategic plan. You know, a lot of things have impacted that. We're going to pull it back out now and start looking at it and really start implementing some of the stuff that we have done. I really appreciate the chapter presidents. As I said, you guys are the organization. You know, keep up the good work. Let's continue to build the federation. To our division presidents, you know, you're doing really, really good things, and you know, let's continue to do that.
Hey, Terry, Terry.
Yes.
This is Cal. I'm sorry for cutting you off. This is Cal from Memphis.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to just take a minute to pledge my full support to the seniors division. I'm beginning to realize that I'm actually in the senior division. I spend so much time playing with the youngsters that I forget sometimes that I am a senior. So, and I do work real close with the veterans. So anything that we could do in this Tennessee region to help the veterans, I'm all for it. I just wanted to say that in closing. Thank you.
So thank you, Kevin. Before we close, I want to ask Kevin, as our national rep, if you got anything to say to wrap this thing up.
Well, thank you, Terry. Other than you guys are amazing, I don't have much else. I go to a lot of conventions. I guess I should say, you know, virtual Washington seminar. Thanks to your legislative committee, all your divisions, your chapters. We have an amazing affiliate in Tennessee. I knew we did because many of my formative experiences in business, in federation was in Tennessee. Y'all are the best. You're just in my heart. I know you're in the heart of President Riccobono's. We'll talk throughout the year. Don't forget the presidential releases are now on November 1 and December 1. They're going to be live, and you can send questions to Chris Danielson if you want your questions answered by the Prez. Of course, you can always just write him a note, Office of the President, NFB.org. See you all at National Convention. Again, let me just invite everybody that wants to come in and hang at the Colorado Convention this coming week. If you want information about it, just send an email to assistance@nfbco.org, assistance@nfbco.org, or find a way to get in touch with any of us at in the Rocky Mountain State here. And we'll be going strong all weekend with a guide dog seminar at 4 Central on Thursday. I think that's all, Terry. I mean, you guys are amazing. I love you guys. And I know President Riccobono would want me to say, well done, y'all.
Thank you, Kevin. Tennessee and Alabama kicked off about 10 minutes ago. It's probably 21-0 already. So,
no, it's not, but we've already got a target called.
Already got what?
A target called on Tennessee.
Okay. So anyway, thank everybody again. And the 2020 convention of the National Federation of the Blind of Tennessee stands adjourned.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone. Have a great weekend.
Terry.
Bye.